when Troy Aikman says that last point, every Hall of Famer that I have ever encountered, their number one beef is when folks get celebrated and held to a lesser standard than they were held to. No Hall of Famer, Max, resents anything more than them being held to a higher standard than folks on the come up that they sort of paved the way to. They really resent it, and I don't blame them, because if you got to go through stuff and everybody's coming down on you and you produce, but then you watch somebody get celebrated before they produced, that's a problem.
There's so much here. I love this clap back by Troy Aikman. Number one, he shows you that Aikman had his mind on important things. He wants to win Super Bowls. So everyone's saying whatever else. He's like, that's not how I measure it. I measure it in Super Bowls. Even though Aikman was never considered the number one quarterback in the world. Patrick Mahomes has been the number one quarterback in the world since his first start of his first season starting until this moment. And he's only getting better. He's already reached a level compared to his contemporaries Aikman never enjoyed. On the other hand, it's so misleading when you just say, look at the numbers, because it's a different era. So for example, you know what the 25th best time ever in the 100-meter dash is? Men's 100-meter dash? 9.87. 25th best time. So if I were to tweet out to the ghost of Jesse Owens, right? Guess what? Jesse Owens, 10.38 second 100-meter, wouldn't even place in the top 1,000, right? And he clapped back, let me know when you got 3 gold medals, right? That would be the same thing. It's a different time.
Yeah.
So it also addresses that. Yes, of course, if Troy Aikman were playing today, he'd put up much better numbers. Therefore, since you really can't compare apples to apples, what he's saying is, here's something we can talk about that resonates through every era that we all understand. Here are my rings. Come back at me when you got those.
Max, I love what you just said, because it is the era. It is the era, and the comparison is totally different. First of all, they dropping back 50 times a game now. Troy was never doing that. Troy played with the all-time leading rusher. You know how many times you got to hand the damn ball off for your running back to be the all-time leading rusher in Emmitt Smith, right? We look at Pat Mahomes, and I get it. I understand it. He's tremendous. He's great. But when you start talking about these type of guys that played in a different era in the NFL, as opposed to these guys who are protected, who run offenses that are predicated on them throwing for almost 10,000 yards a season, it is a totally different conversation. I love the clap back from Troy Aikman. This is another thing, too. Now that we're in this era of football, it's similar to basketball. Now we got to start trying to find guys that transcend eras. Right? We got to find guys. Like, the basketball conversation is so amazing. What would Jordan be in today's game compared to when he played in his era, compared to the era that was before him? People talk about LeBron wouldn't be the same guy because it was hand checking back when Jordan played. These guys transcend eras. Pat Mahomes would transcend eras in the NFL based on the production and what he's been able to do.
If he starts winning Super Bowls, there's never been a Michael Jordan of football. Right? Because Tom Brady was more of a system guy early. By the time he became the great Tom Brady, you could see also he had a great head coach that was largely responsible for it. You never looked at him and said, oh, he's better than Aaron Rodgers, just isolating the value. Michael Jordan was the guy. It's not just that he was the best. He reached the highest peak. All the numbers say it. All the advanced analytics. He was the best ever. He also won the most. He was the most all that stuff. If Patrick Mahomes starts winning multiple Super Bowls, then we have a Michael Jordan of football for the first time.
And it's how you look doing it. That's very important to the conversation as well.
No doubt.
Let's understand that Troy Aikman never failed to show up in a big game.
Never.
In the Super Bowl. He was a Super Bowl MVP. I believe it was Super Bowl 27. Let's remember that. Let's remember that he beat the likes. I don't know if it was Joe Montana or Steve Young. It was one or the other. You understand? Beat Jim Kelly. You understand? This guy won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. Let's remember that. And so what I'm saying is that, again, when he did what he's saying is it's a different era. Like you pointed out, it's far more physical. It was far more physical back then than it is now. Now, if you don't throw for 4, it was a big deal when you threw for 3,000 yards back in his day. Now, if you don't throw for 4,000 yards, we looking at you with a raised eyebrow saying, what's your problem? How can you not do that? That's the least you could do in this softest putty game that we playing right now. So all of those things get taken into consideration. And at the end of the day, if you're looking at a guy and you recognize your individual greatness, Troy Aikman's not trying to take away from that. What he's saying is, wait a minute here.
Yeah.
You held me
Yeah.
and others
Terry
to
Bradshaw-
a standard. Make sure you do
I
it
hear
to
you.
them.
Terry Bradshaw's numbers didn't look impressive in Troy Aikman's
But
era.
also,
I mean, like,
but
he got 4 Super Bowls.
But also, the clapback tells you that it struck a nerve.
Well, you know,
And if it did strike a nerve, that means they see the capability.
No,
of
I
that
don't
but he's
See, I
not, but
disagree-
he's
I
not
disagree.
questioning
Is it
that.
a
He's not
little
questioning
petty?
that.
I disagree.
No, I don't think it's petty. But what I will say is, when you clap back as a Hall of Famer with a gold jacket, you've given it
I
validity.
disagree with that. I'll tell you why. I don't think he's going at Mahomes
He's not.
at
He's
all.
not.
I think what Troy Aikman is saying is, oh, in my day, we didn't do that. But you know what my job was? To lead my team to the Super Bowl. And I got multiple rings. I don't think he's going at Mahomes. He's going at
not.
the kind of silly notion that his numbers don't look like numbers today.
But you'll say silly notion, and what I'm saying again, by talking to so many of these Hall of Famers, no matter what sport it is, they have that in common. There's 2 things they have in common. They all apologize to loved ones and family members because of the selfishness and the sacrifices they had to make in pursuit of that level of greatness. And number 2, they all lament the fact that the successors to their legacies never get held to the same standard.
Look,
that
look,
really is offensive to them.
Actually, think about the tweet very carefully. That's why I said Jesse Owens says, like, this many gold medals, right? He didn't say, get back to me when he has 3 championships. He didn't say when he matches me.
Yeah.
He said,
1.
Get 1. I got 3, get 33%. He said, before you anoint a guy, let him win a Super Bowl.
And how many times have I sat here saying to you, could they do something first? How many times have I clapped back at you? Whether it's the Brown, anybody, can they do something first?
He almost got to the Super Bowl basically as a rookie.
Who you taking out of Marino and Troy?
Marino. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.